losses, not even a draw. They're going up against PENTA SPORTS, who, for them, this game could have been massive. The fact that Lestream just won in our very first matchup, this game for PENTA SPORTS loses almost all of its significance. Their door to the playoffs in Milan has now firmly closed. They do not have enough remaining games to be able to make up the distance between them and the second place team, which happens to be Lestream. But for PENTA SPORTS, a lot of people had interesting expectations. This was a team that grabbed the 6 invitational spot at DreamHack Winter. They actually looked quite dominant. They made a roster change. They cut Panics from the roster. They, brought in Blast, who has been, for all intents and purposes, a pretty good addition to the team. But since then, it's been middling results for Penta. They've been a pretty firmly middle-of-the-pack team in Europe so far, and failed to make it out of the group stages in 6 Invitational, although they came very close. I think there's a lot of possibilities for this roster. They have a very high upside. They haven't necessarily realized it yet. They're going to need to over the next 2 weeks and then onwards, because they're going to have a break. They won't be able to go to Milan. So, we just saw our very first matchup on Clubhouse. Where are we going to see for our second matchup? Keep in mind, Coastline will be banned in every single map today. So, or every single match day. You don't need to worry about going there. It's going to be Oregon. Interestingly, our most played map in Europe.
Yeah, we're going to go to Oregon, and we've talked about Oregon at nauseum as to its qualities as a map, its upsides, its strengths, and its obvious shortcomings. Nonetheless, both teams will elect to play there as finally. I was interested by Mouse's ban of both Clubhouse and Bank. Those are 2 maps that they clearly have struggled on, but also a map where they revised their roles. Especially in Bank,
オレゴンはね、最近やっぱりメタがちょっと変わりつつあって、フェイドバンするかしないかっていうところがやっぱり重要ですね。で、バンしないのであれば、その教室前の年をあそこ終わるか終わらないのかっていう駆け引きが生まれてきて、
I'm actually quite surprised with how much of a wealth there is between these two teams. This actually just seems to be based upon the stats of these two teams over the last little while. Penta's coming in with 7 points over the second half. Mouse is coming in with 3. The only really good matchup that we've seen from Mouse came last week. That was it. Outside of that, they have looked quite weak against their opponents. You look at Mouse in the second half, they got thumped by Secret 2-7. Same with G2, 2-7. They gave Chaos a pretty good run for their money, fell short of Lestream, and then they beat Navi, the team in last place. So your only real claim to fame in the second half is that you beat up on the team that everybody else has been beating up on so far, at least in this season. Doesn't exactly inspire a lot of confidence, and that could be why, despite the fact they're a popular team and a very popular org, they trailed Penta in that community vote. We'll launch into Oregon, and knowing the way that these two teams play, which can often be referred to as chaotic, I imagine we're probably in for a pretty fun match.
Even the players saying, have some fun, boys.
Yeah.
Because for this, as long as Mouse come away with a point in either a game this week or a game next week, depending on the outcome of our third game of the evening, it doesn't really matter for anyone here, honestly, other than seeding at the end of the season, which also doesn't have a great effect on anything, actually.
This is actually a rematch in regards to the map as well. They were known as Ents at the time when they played Penta, but it was a 6-6 draw on Oregon. The last time these teams met. Sometimes words are very difficult, but there we have it. So I had speculated originally that there wouldn't be a Ying ban, and there it is. And you got to imagine that's just solely to counter Hungry. He's the, I would say, and I think a lot of people would echo this sentiment, the best Ying player in the world. Hungry's trying to predict what's going to be banned. A nice try, but it's going to be a clash instead. You know that Penta runs a clash. She can be very strong on Oregon, on every single site. That's a smart ban from Mouse. I like what we're seeing from both teams so far. It really comes down to what Penta chooses to ban as their final operator.
One of the most terrifying bans that hasn't been taken out at is Capitao. Those new asphyxiating bolts make defending inside of the closet downstairs and defending a lot of those hard-held positions like top white a simulated hell, basically. You've got a lot of places that those asphyxiating bolts can cordon off and do a lot of significant damage onto anchors who like to play in those power pivot positions. We're going to go downstairs, start off on the defense here. Mira being taken out of the equation, no big shock. It is they do despise the Mira. A Finca coming out from Sleb early on, I imagine that's a 6 pick, considering we have 0
マー
hard
ベリッ
breaches
クではあり
and
ますね、これは
Mav.
ね。
We still
た
have
だ
the
ね、マーベリ
availability
ッ
of
ク
all
ね、
3.
結構その割も危険
Bono will
で、
make your life much more simple, but no, we're gonna have, okay, we're
受け
sticking
付か
the
ないんか
Finca,
い。
and we're going dope with Wilkie. No, there we go. Yeah, I was gonna say, Habana would make your life a lot easier here, and there we go. We have a Habana and a Mav, and we finally settle on the defensive line with a Maestro.
マエストロをどこに置くかちょっと注
Okay, the
目です
Finca.
ね。
We've seen this before. We saw this on Wednesday, the Latin American matchups. Finca coming out. A map like Oregon, Finca will actually lend itself pretty handedly. I mean,
で最近この、なんていうんですか、備品のこの小さいこの、いつもミラー普通に貼るあの部屋、最近左、なんだろう、要は、ローテーションホール作る側にを占めるっていうのが結構入ってますね。落とし戸は、教室は、落とし戸閉めて、教室の横の壁閉めるっていうのが一般的だったんですけど、最近もうそこは全部割り入れてっていう対応が結構増えてますね。今もやってましたけど。
Fond memories of that Navi Penta matchup that was also on Oregon. One of the more exciting matches, if not a bit of sloppiness to it from both teams in week number 8, in which it looked like Navi was going to win, and then I believe Penta stormed back. Oregon is just such an interesting map to watch teams play on. I know that the word stale gets brought out, but there's a lot of variances that teams have, and it comes down to individual fights. You know, ultimately winning the day for the most part. Both these teams have a lot of players that can single-handedly turn the tide of a round. You know, you look at Sir Boss, you look at Blast, you look at, you know, Hungary on Penta's side as 3 major difference makers in a number of matches so far this season. You know, you've got Slevin, you've got Gomfi, and you even have Bonesy as well, who has picked a bit of a quieter set of roles as of late, but has, you know, almost completely won the series. You don't win the Sao Paulo championship that we saw, you know, when they were Ents, without Gomfi playing out of his mind at the time. Obviously helped that you had Kanto on the team too, but you know, Bonesy was such an incredibly strong player that time around. First Adrenal Surge is going to come in from Mouse, who, like many teams nowadays, have taken over tower control. Great patience from Bonesy as he waits to see if somebody from Penta is going to go through the garage. Nobody takes the bait. Using the Maverick and Habana combo, you saw an entry into Attic that was created by the Maverick, while the Habana takes out the stage wall. It's going to leave Mouse in a position to possibly collapse on Meeting Hall, while Shate's all by himself in front lobby.
Yeah, the setup here for Mouse on the attacking side, it's been a little slow.
今回もこれは多分狭く守ってるのかな、有撃ないですよね、おそらくね。
eventually dropping back down those meeting hatches, and a lot of reinforcements and utility utilized upstairs. Looks like Gomfi's going to drop down into box now. Start the engagement as there's 50 seconds remaining. A lot of utility left on the side of Penta. And if those adrenal surges come out from Slevin, Hungary's toxic canisters will chew through them mighty quick. Still have Revan in place, the cardiac sensor as well. The ADS catching that flashbang that was sent down the halls. It looks like that is Wilkie pushing down the main hallway. We've also got one coming down main stairs now. Shot didn't fall at the hands of enemy. Playing up on top of the laundry bins. And there goes the toxic babes coming out. A quick trade there for Slevin as actually Mouse will grab 2 and equalize. Sir Boss falling as well. The inherent spray. Plenty of LMGs all over the place.
The toxic babe will now be disseminated and go through the wall. Booty collects another one onto the docket though as that's a fall. And now it's all the diffuser down and Hungary left in a 1v3. It's the nice headshot onto Wilkie and turning the corner. Slevin will be down as well. Finish up with the shotgun. It's down to the 1v1. Boonsy against Hungary. Pings coming out onto Boonsy into the main hallway, but not fast enough. He dart away and escape in the box. Hungary now playing a default on the rotation point, and that is Boonsy to clean that one up for Mouse. A hectic, chaotic, last-second desperation attempt there for Mouse, but the gunfights to go their way. Utility not enough to repel Mouse in the entry.
And if they hadn't cut down Enemy, who was playing on the hatch in Meeting Hall, very similar to what we saw from Joystick in our very first matchup of the day, it could have really come down to the flanking Jaeger literally winning the entire round for your team. I mentioned the fact that both of these teams have players who are capable of performing clutch, scenarios, and performing in clutches no matter where they are, no matter who they are, and what operators they're on. Hungary nearly doing the same thing, coming up against Bonesy. And as much as the Evil Eye was assisting the call, I think finding safe haven inside a box was your best bet as Bonesy, and he just needed to wait at that point. Hungry's not going to be that patient. He realizes that he's got half of the diffuser left to go. You're going to have to make a move at some point in 7 seconds to be able to get that diffuser, and even though it's going to be close to him, you can't just try and wait and bait out your opponent. So now Sports is going to run with, well, a very similar lineup, except they're going to forego the Maverick this time.
Yeah, foregoing the Maverick is actually interesting considering the number of
今のはね、正
reinforcements that were utilized for this meeting
直
setup.
そんなに悪い
I guess you can get
構成
still
じゃなか
the
ったの
job
同
done with Loki
じ
if you
パ
want
ターン
to
でこ
utilize
れ
one of the
護
set
衛
of X-Kairos as the box hatch
見て
has
く
always
ると思
been
いますね
unreinforced and opened up by Penta for possible rotations. And it's exactly what Hungry will do just now.
今度た
In
だ
the suit.
圧
So you still
縮
got
に
Sir
しま
Boss
し
ripping
た
up the
ね
classroom walls as well for visibility for anyone peeking in through
マーベリックを
classroom
やめ
down
て
that
圧縮
laundry hatch
にしてますね
into the laundry rotate. For the most part, though, it seems like a replication of the strategy here for Penta. They've just changed up one thing, and we've seen this before coming out from teams on Oregon. You reinforce this connector wall that Bloss has just passed by. Try and isolate and protect your anchors holding in behind the box rotation.
Golfy just used his breaching round on because he heard it very early, possibly over on tower side. The way that you saw the Maverick get used on the previous round was to open up attic, but there really wasn't much of a presence from Penta in there. If Mouse isn't thinking that Penta's going to do the same thing, then you don't really need the Maverick, right? You're better suited putting Golfy on a more comfortable role for him, which is the Ash, undoubtedly. Though Maverick is still a very strong operator for being able to get the kills that you need, right?
タワーから来られたっていうのを
Golfy
これ
proving that he can
悟
excel
っ
on
て
most roles.
タ
Revan
ワーを
dies
結
very
構守
early.
っ
The
てます
pulse
ね
getting a little bit too close to the sun there. Now you
Ah,
see
この
Slevin
フラグは
capable of getting a kill onto the Jaeger from below.
はい、
He's going to be
そうだ
exposed
け
here.
ど
Might even just go for the jump out, but Bloss gets spotted. So
こ
Penta
こでカッ
has
トされる
three
と
lines
き
over
つい
on
で
the
す
tower side
ね
of things. Enemy is
あ
next on
違うな
deck. Spots the
ミュー
Thinker
トがカッ
rotating
トされ
down
た
below,
な
but
今
he's foiled by the bars. He'll get flashed out from Gonfi
この
here
家側
and
がカットされたと思
completely
ったん
blind
で
his
す
enemy.
が
Could end up finding himself in a very
お
difficult
ー
position.
これはナイ
There's
ス飛
Sir
びです
Boss. You have an
素晴らし
ACOG.
い
Why don't you use it? The kitchen doorway, and we also saw the smoke on back tower stairs, which means that there's nobody on the site right now. Everybody from Penta is assembled on various parts of the
この
map.
タワーに対し
None
て
of
こ
whom
の
are
2
defending
人
the
も3
actual
人も
bombs downstairs.
リソースを割いちゃ3人割いてますからね
They've invested a lot of
今
bodies,
タ
obviously,
ワー
in a
の
lot
こ
of
の
utility
家側の
to
有益を潰
challenging
すのに
this tower.
3人
Takes
割い
Sir
てる
Boss
の
and
で
shoots
こ
another one
の
on
ちょっ
the
と
bone
先は
seat.
ちょっ
And now
と
down the main stairs,
無駄
Sir Boss in a contesting and
だ
shot
と思い
outside
ます
the
ね
front door. Pulling out a
あ
drone
ーこ
though.
こで今ドローン見てるドローン見てる
Ah,
あーおおよく打ち
Still
取っ
able
た
to win that out onto Sir Boss. Putting an exclamation point on this tower hold. Enemy still locked inside of the rafters. He's going to have to drop back down to T2
タワー
and
切られ
move
ま
his
した
way
ね
down. Looks like Mouse have identified that the site is completely clear. Hungry was able to retake back down main.
多分
This
このメインのロビー薄かったんでタワー諦めたって感じですね。おお、ここはナイスカッ
rotate from Mouse
ト。
not quick enough as Wilkie's still trying to make it over to Garage. Shate locking this down. Inside a meeting now is Enemy playing behind sandbags.
Enemy is really a big force of why, a big credit in why Penta is doing as well as they are. Because he's been able to kill so much time, and also enemies got two
おお、
lined
これ
up!
は2枚一気にいっちゃうね。いっちゃいますね。
Enemy just waited for the peak! He
こ
wins
こは
the
正
fight
直ドローン
inside
1
the
回
tower.
回
He's
して
able
か
to
ら
go back
会
to
議入りたか
site.
ったですね。
Oh my my! Not only is that a good gun in the hands of a good player, but it's Mouse unable to dig enemy out of his
もし
location.
くは
And he's
今
gonna
メイン
keep that
回
round
回
from
しきっ
falling
て
by the
たんでメイ
wayside.
ン回回しきった
That
と
control
ころに
Being
はい
able to
ないっ
hold
ていう
that.
のは
All
分かっ
the
ていたは
utility that
ずな
seemed
の
to
で
be
メイン
expended
回
and
から攻めるべき
nobody
だったかなっていう
from
気は
Mouse was
僕
able to
は
take
し
out
て
the
ます
Jaeger,
ね
and you lost a body playing
こ
on
れ2対
Repel.
2なん
Sir
で、まあ
Boss
開
goes
局
into
い
the
たとしても
dining hall,
1
breaks
人
the
だと思
door,
うので
and kills one on Repel as well. You could possibly have two people swing
まあ
into
1人なら
tower
っ
to
ていうところです
confront the
ね
Jaeger and hope that he's not able to get both of you at the same time, but Mouse had a bit of apprehension, and ultimately that apprehension cost them quite a bit. We say this after Mouse seemed to have everything going in their favor. They
回帰
got two very
ね、
early picks onto both
これ
Blast
ど
and
こだった
Revan,
か
who seemed to
な
feed themselves to Mouse, almost needlessly taking
SSG
confrontations they
だ
didn't
った
need
かな
to.
ちょっと忘れちゃったけど
And
会議をね、全く相手にせ
they
ず
really struggled in that mid round. It ended up being
も
a
う
killer
時
for
間もや
them.
ばいし一気
And then it just
に
came
駆け
down
抜けて教室入っちゃうみたいな攻めになったんですけど完全に失敗して
not really much of a
会
factor.
議からバチコリやられるっていうシーンがあったんですけど、やっぱ会議ねちゃんと取らないとやられちゃうんでね、そこは気をつけた方がいいんですけど、もう今の2対2みたいなシーンだとね、会議取らなくても別に一人でいいかなっていう気はしますね。
Or you drive headstrong into the storm. You steer into the skid and say, "Screw it, we're sending 5."
これは定番のバル
Typically,
カメで
like
すね。
90% of the time, you're gonna see the remaining 3 members try and bail at a tower, get back to
バル
sight,
カメは
hold
定番
down
なん
the
で、
objective. And that
もう
time
どのプロ
around,
も使
Penta
って
was
る
the
と言っ
one.
てもいいし、
Penta was the one in a million who said, "You know what? All 5 members,
あと
let's go
会議と
evacuate
タワー
site.
です
We're
ね。
gonna lock down tower. We're gonna continue to fight this until the very bitter end." And Sir Boss was instrumental in flanking all the way over to dining door and up towards the top armory window to be able to
な
complete
ぜあそ
that
こが定
task.
番なのかって、一回屋根に登りきらないと壊せないんですよね。
That's the way that tower typically works, right? Is that the way that you'll see tower happen is that you'll take until the very final moments and then you'll begin to push in and you usually have such a lead at
屋
that
根に
point
登りきるって
that you
結
can
構
go
リ
for the
ス
plan.
クが
The
今
problem is that
さ
where
ーっ
most
て言っ
teams
ちゃいまし
do
たけ
plant
ど、
that
結構
default
リ
just
ス
by
ク
the
があっ
generator, it's
て、
usually in a position
そ
where
の
if you're defending on that second floor of tower, you have
なん
the
ていうんだ
soft
ろう
wall
な、
and
本
you're
陣
supposed
側
to shoot through them.
メ
Find
イ
yourself
ン
in a
の
very
方
good
から打
position
ち
as
込めが入
defenders
る
to
可
be
能
able
性
to
があるん
hold
です
out
ね。
even when you're facing
上に
really
登
tough
りき
odds
る
and a
と。
numbers disadvantage.
で、多分、
Now this is probably going to struggle
3
on this
階に
third
人
tower
を
for
配置
you
してれ
yet
ば
again. You mentioned that,
割と簡
and
単に
it's true.
登
You
りきったよ
saw
っていう
how
報告が
much
入っちゃうの
trouble
で、
Mouse had. This is a great call
登り
from
きった
Penta
と
to
ころを
go over to tower
今ターボ
based
スがい
on
る
what
地
they
点です
saw.
ね。タ
Now,
ーボスがいる地
tower
点
is
か
still
ら
a site that for
撃
most
たれた
teams
り
is
する
not
っ
as
ていう
defendable
形
as
が
Kid Storms on
結
the
構多
other
いの
part of
で、
the second floor,
登り
just
き
on
る
the
と
other side of the
結
building.
構危
But
険だよっていう
for
の
the
が
time
あり
being,
ます
a
ね。
minute 40, Penta's surviving the storm. You've seen Gonfi taking quite a bit of lumps. Wilkie's taking some damage too. And Blast has taken damage as well. But Blast is on the move. Nobody seems to have pinned him down. Go to the highway window. Possibly see if somebody from Mouse is there, but there's
今こ
nobody.
れ登りき
So
っ
he
て
at some point will
る
likely
プレイ
have
ヤー
to
が
find
い
his
る
way
の
back.
で、
The real
おそ
question
ら
is
くそ
what's
れを
going
潰
on
そうっ
with
ていう
Attic. Is there an
魂胆
opportunity
だ
for
と
the
は思う。
defenders
今
to
見
be able
ま
to
した
roam
ね。
and be able
お
to
そら
get
くそれを
back on
潰
in?
そうっていう魂胆だとは思うんですけど、
Enemy is going to be continuously taking fights while
そ
his
れは
whole
多分
mission
ロ
is
ッ
to
クして
survive.
ま
The
す
other members
ね。
of Penta
これ
around him,
は
some
オー
of
バー
the
レイ
last
に
round, are taking damage, but they are not
してないな。
falling. They're actually dealing out a decent amount of damage onto the mouse attackers as well. An enemy, while stunned, will take the shot onto Wilkie and drop him on the rooftops. Gonfi with an immediate trade onto Hungry, though, so there goes your smoke
割と珍しいで
downstairs.
すね、プロリーグ
Good
として
news
は。
is that enemy is still at 100 HP, up in T3, hasn't taken a single point of damage, and now there's going to repel
おー、これは。
into T3
おー、
while
ナイス。
Slevin hits the shots.
今
Enemy
のは
will
まあワン
fall
チャンもう
as
勝負
T3
しちゃったって
surrendered by
形ですけど、
Penta.
その時間も
Now
ないん
on
で
the
ね、
defense,
まあし
they're
ょうがな
going
い
to
と
lose
思いま
another
す
one.
が、ここは
Slevin
も
just
う
tacking
3回取られる
on.
と
It's all
正直
snowballing here for
タ
Penta
ワーに関
Sports
して
as
はき
Sir
ついん
Boss and
で、
Blaz need to retake back
あー
into
で
the
もここに
objective.
落
They
ちちゃった
won't
んで
have
すね。
T3 control. Recovering the diffuser is Gonfi as he's going to head topside into T2 windows. Blaz, though,
ね、これももう
attempted
2回
retake
多分
here
おそら
at the
く
T2 window as it'll nail a shot onto Bonesy. Plant
不
going
利に
down
なっ
from
てるん
Gonfi,
で
though,
ね。
and all they have to
あ
do
とは
is
もう
watch the
一回
stairs. Blaz coming in
抑え
through
っていうの
Attic.
と、あ
You've
と
got
タ
Sir
ワー
Boss
2
down
をこれを受け
below.
ないとタワ
On
ー
the
2から
main
これブ
tower
ラス
stairs,
剣で、
Shate still holding from T3 will be the difference maker.
あ、
Someone can
どっか
hit
行
a
って
shot
ますね。
onto him up 2 levels. Boonsy grabs
で、
one,
ここ
looking
です
to
ね。
collect 2. Shate
テラ
wraps
ちゃ
it
ん
up
で、
with a
これ
nice
はやっ
little
ぱ
bow.
り
And that's
3階
Mouse
を
taking
取られ
a
ると
much better,
タワ
much
ーって
more
のはきついん
resilient
ですけ
tower
ど、
take on that round.
まあ結
The
構
reason
ね、
why it
攻め
seemed
の
that
パターン
enemy
と
was
し
so
て、
surprised that the repel on
プ
him
ロ
was
だ
that
と
the
3回
Sophia
取らないって
concussion
パ
hit
タ
at
ー
the
ン結構
exact
あるん
time
で
that
すよ
the repel
ね。
happened. And as anybody who plays an operator on defense knows, not only is it a disorienting blast,
入り
but it
口
also
っ
affects your
て
hearing.
2箇所しかないので、
Whether that was deliberate or not, I would assume it was.
サウ
Very
ス
good
側
call from Mouse to
は
be able to put that together
入
because
っ
you
た瞬
allowed
間、
the
そ
repel on in
の
from the
階段の
Ivana
ところに一
and
人
Slevin
入って
just
してお
got
け
the
ば
kill. Despite that, with how much of
下から向けるっていうのがあるのと、あと、サウス側の逆なんで、ノース側かな。
But
それを
that
右
coordination from Mouse
の
really,
こ
really mattered.
の
And they
と
did
こ
it
ろか
without
ら
smokes, they
の
did
打
it
ち
without the
込み
logic
がある
bombs
の
as
で、
well
ノー
because
ス側って
Wilkie
いうの
died
は、
early. Enemy had actually
ラペ
two
リングが
good
そもそも
looks
危
at
険という
Wilkie
のが
from the top of T3 to be able to
あるので、
get him. But I think he was just fearing the
な
angle angle,
かね、
or
3
might not
階を
even
取るってい
seen
うの
him
が
on a
結構
quick
厳
pass
しかった
by
りする
onto
の
the
で、
roof. So
そもそもセカンドピックがこの
knowing what they
3
knew
側だったんですね。
about Mouse
2
on that
階を
second
ピックしな
round,
かった理
I
由っ
still
ていう
think it
のが
was
ち
a
ょっ
good
と
call to go to tower,
ピックずら
but
し
you
な
saw
のか。
exactly what happens when you lose tower. There's no retake. You can maybe come from attic, but it's being covered because you have a numbers
どの道
advantage
ね、
on Mouse's
やることにな
side.
っちゃうん
They're
で。
looking at every possible way in. And not only
2
do you have to
枚
hit
閉
your
めま
shots
す
as a
ね。
defender,
最近
but
閉め
you
な
have
い
to
チー
hit
ム多いん
them
ですよ、ここ2
with
枚
the height
は。
advantage being
1
in
枚
favor
だ
of
け
your
閉め
opponents.
て、
You're going to be
っていう
aiming
チー
for a
ム
much
結
smaller
構ねあ
target
る
than
ん
they're going to be
で、
aiming.
もしかしたらと思っ
And
たん
not
ですけ
everybody
ど、
can possibly do that under a lot
閉
of
めました
pressure.
ね。
It was very
で、こうキ
routine
ッ
from
チンも
Mouse
閉
to
め
be
て
able to
ます
hold it
ね。
out in
キ
the
ッ
final
チン
10
閉め
seconds
て、
there. And then when the plant goes down, it was a good place to plant because you usually see people walk into the doorway and plant by generator, like I said. But you've got full control, and you've also got sight to be able to see any possible retake onto that second floor tower. Really well played from Mouse in the dying seconds of the round and good coordination that led to that control, as we said, onto enemy above.
So for now, it's Penta refocusing in towards top floor, going to kids and dorms, and this is the more logical call that people would have expected, but easy to see why they went for the tower take, or tower defense, after being able to repel Mouse's tower take for nearly 2 minutes. Got Sleben on an immediate entry in through showers, as he'll hold the doorway, waiting for any peeks to come out from kitchen, but he's got Shate in support coverage. Now, this yokai being spotted out early will be a loss to Penta, because there's really only your Valkyrie cameras and your yokais to be able to garner a lot of the information. This time around, Maestro not electing to be brought. Stun canisters being sent out once from Shate, but Bloss busting out of meeting. Split will take down Wilkie as he tries to push into the main door. Ooh, a good hole opened up here by Sleben, but trading shots back and forth will be Bloss and himself from inside of the showers. It's Bloss going away worse for wear, but Sleben still down to about 50 HP. Now you've got Goffy tacked on as well. This kitchen hold is now the point of focus here for Mouse as they try to rip through each piece one by one, but it looks like Penta, they've done their job. They got their kill on Wilkie. They got their damage done onto Sleben. They're up a man. They've burnt half the round. They're out of kitchen.
I really like what we've seen out of Penta and how unconventional all of their offsite play has been. And I know that we've seen it from teams before on Oregon, but there's actually very little commitment from Penta on site most of these rounds. They are playing extremely freely everywhere that else they could be on the map. And with kids' dorms, it's not weird to see defenders playing down below, but if you lose control of the site, your retake potential is very minimal, especially with a Valkyrie now playing up in T3. That C4 is usually reserved for down below, but it's going to be a lockout for Penta anyway. They pick up 2 very fast kills, and I don't really see how Penta loses this. You know, not only are you at a disadvantage in terms of utility on Mouse Sports, they only have the Hard Breacher Thatcher combo that's left. But you don't likely have any drones. It doesn't appear that there's any information on Mouse's side of things. They're largely going in blind. They haven't even fished any members of Penta out from the bottom floor. Sleben will find one at least onto enemy, possibly looking for another, but it's Blast who will be able to outduel him, as Sleben didn't appear to know that Blast was coming for cover. Still leaving Revan downstairs inside of the washroom. The Echo's going to peek on out. Sir Boss will get swiftly shut down. Bonesy doesn't have a lot of time to work with. He also doesn't have that diffuser, so it's very unlikely he's going to be able to do all that much. Finds himself in a very vulnerable position, and it'll be Hungry who will decide to cut him off and say that's enough for this round. It'll be Penta going back and forth.
こういう動きが多いですね、最近のプロリーグは。本当に、スモーク今焚いて、大窓はもう来れない、時間的にもう今20秒だったんで、大窓入ってこれない状況にして、じゃあもうノース窓だよねみたいな。で、今、ノースに、窓に寄りながら、スモーク、ピークしながら、大窓を一応ピークしながら、ノース窓に寄ってたと思うんですけど、ノース窓のラベリングの音が聞こえたらすぐにこう振り向いて、敵が加えられるように一気に移動していたって感じですね。
Have to go back to tower, or maybe try something fancy on kitchen and dining, a site that we basically never see anymore, and for good reason. So it's looking precarious here for Penta. They need to start things off though and get this round win no matter what. Last time it was their tower hold that really was the difference maker. They were able to stall out Mouse on their entry. Be interested to see if at some point if Mouse can bait Penta into sending that much utility and manpower into a tower take, maybe you just opt for a main stairs rush. There was nobody watching main stairs last time around, as far as Sir Boss was upstairs and over by dining in the midst of that round, and Hungry was playing the back tower stairs, as you noted. Site's empty. Maybe you can bait them into sending that much manpower again towards tower and pull an APAC.
なるほど。今の有刺鉄線の置き方はちょっとかなり参考になりますね。B のプッシュはやっぱり完全に意識した有刺鉄線ですね、これ完全に。やっぱり B のプッシュっていうのが最近多いので、かつ、ミラもいないという状況なので、
Penta has been defending.
ミュートがいないのか。
Also means that there's going to be one body all on their own going to main lobby. That's likely going to be Shate, but Shate and Gumpy have also lost a bunch of HP, 30 seconds, and a
bit
of potential spawn peak, or some utility or explosive from one of them just going off while they were both in too close a proximity to it.
これはどこから射撃を
for
食らって2人はちょっと食らってるんだろ
Looks like Mouse again, like you said. Gonna be going for a tower clear. And doesn't look like there's too many members of Penta actually stuck inside of tower right now. I imagine enemy would be the member T3 if there was one, and there isn't. Penta, yeah, they're back to a meeting hold. But Mouse anticipating resistance haven't gone up and actually claimed the tower and worked their way over to the attic walls to punch open so they can have control of the attic to look down into towards meeting. Now they will get this game going, but they're a minute late to the party. Finally got some pre-fires coming out from Monsky. Started coffee in towards sandbags. It's a rough go here for Mouse. You've already burnt half the round and you've allowed everyone from Penta to escape. There's nobody watching for flanks down towards tower windows looking towards meeting. This is looking really good here for Penta, but the last time they did this, Mouse overwhelmed the site, completely smothered it with utility and smokes and pure firepower, but one out on frags.
Where are all these members playing offside of Penta, though? You cannot be telling me that they have all 5 bodies down in sight. This isn't exactly a site that works all that well when you keep all 5 of your defenders watching those angles. It's very easy to get overrun, especially with utility-based operators being so prevalent on Oregon base.
メイン界から見ていくっていうのはすごいんですよ。でもメイン界これ完全に中腹にいると思うんですけど、多分エネミーかな。教室多分完全に見てる状態だと思うんですよね。もう最近このやっぱ B 攻めがすごい流行ってるんで、
Keep in mind there's no Mira on the board, she's banned out. It also looks like there might be a yokai down. So things will start off, but there's enemy and playing behind the shield is Servants. He's just gonna gun Goffy down, the fire and the flames in front of him, but he'll try to go through. He'll lose his shield. There's Shotay, but Revan is also on board. Laz will jump on in. Enemy taking out Bonesy, and I suppose this go for rogue strategy of Mouse. Didn't really go anywhere. It's a late flank from Penta. Enemy inside of meeting hall yet again. Almost as if it's his office today. Penta, their 3rd round and the first time that either of these teams will win a consecutive round here in Oregon.
Like I said though, this does lock out top floor and bottom floor.
まあ素晴らしい有益の動きですね、エネミーに関しては。
Of Penta. So now they have to go to tower. Could have gone dining room and kitchen, like I said. That's just not a thing that happens anymore. So we're going to tower. It'll be the second attempt at tower here. Goffy's still bringing the Finka. And I'm curious what the Finka is going to let you do on a tower take here. The Capitao is a welcome change for Wilkie.
防衛ラストのマッチなんで、セカンドピックで2回じゃなくてタワーを選んでるっていうのは、タワーがかなり自信があるんですかね。
Could be useful, but you could bring frags on a sledge or a buck. Mouse just really enjoying the Finka.
It's
not an operator we see all that often. They've also changed up who is playing it. Earlier on it was Slevin. Finka, now it's Goffy bringing the Finka instead. Slevin was running a reflexed LMG.
でも、カプタオが入ってるのを見ると正直、タワー読まれてる気がしますね。多分カプタオでこの3回追い出したいっていう意図を感じますね。
Still really like that coordination from Mouse, but I've also liked what we've seen from Penta on a number of times here. Also poor droning from Mouse through the mid to end of a round. I don't know if they just haven't been expecting it, but there's enemy once again. He'll start things off taking out the Soul Hard Breacher, which not a necessity on tower, but always comforting to have at your disposal if need be. Slevin just chewed up and spit out on side of that tower wall. It's a damning start for Mouse.
You've still got enemy peeking, but he's down to about 20 HP. So Slevin has done, even from the grave, a decent enough job of hamstringing enemy here up inside a tower. He can't get aggressive any longer. There's no dock. He's stuck at 20 no matter what happens. The fixating bolt will come soaring into his back corner. but it won't do any
あ
damage. He's able
ー、
to
遠くから火を
evade.
打つって
Finally,
いう
though,
考
he'll
え
be
方
down
なん
and
です
finished
ね。な
off
るほ
from
ど、なるほど。
Gomfi. So Slevin,
なるほど。
even though he died
これ
early
は
as
で
the
も、
hard breach, it's instrumental in getting that trade
あー、これは、
now at the hands of
こ
Gomfi.
れは、
We got Bloss peeking up
ドロー
towards
回
the
しが
T2
できるか
windows, waiting for an upside down peek. One of these members
あー、
of
でも、
Mouse. Hungry could go for a run out as well.
Yeah.
Sir Boss is all the way down inside a construction
なるほど。
tunnel. I'm anticipating
近くから
Sir
逃げてい
Boss
く。
to make some either
この建
fireworks
設のリ
play
テイ
or
クは
it's not going to
入
last
る
very long.
の
And
か
there
な。
on the run out, Sir Boss with
お
one and another one for Hungry onto Shate.
いや、素晴
Leaves
らしいとこ
Wilkie
ろ
and
です
Bonesy
ね。
left alive.
タイ
I
ミング
really
と
like
い
the
い。
way that Penta is playing this. You know, Mouse is being really static here. They keep finding themselves in bad shape, and it's going to just keep getting worse for them. A minute 15 seconds, and Mouse doesn't have any information because Penta isn't
ア
allowing
リ
them
バ
to
イは
take
ね、
it.
もう本当に
Every
強いん
single
ですよ
member of
ね、
Penta
結
is just
構。
finding a new lane to run on here on Oregon, and Hungry
銃が
will
強
finish
いっ
things
ていうの
off
と、
with a beautiful two-piece at the back
いや、
of
本当
the
にタワー成
tower
功させてきます
stairs.
ね。
Man, this Penta matchup right now with Mouse is fun to watch for both of these teams, but I really gotta say, it's a little bit of Mouse just simply being inefficient on their
さっき
information
も多分
gathering,
1本で通
but
したと思うん
additionally,
で、
Penta finding avenues to just terrorize Mouse.
綺麗に守って
It's
ると思います。
unfortunate for Penta that it's now Penta on attack because you don't really need to drone when you're on defense, unless you have Mozzie.
まあ、今までとやっぱり違うところで言ったら、3
So
階
you
に
have your cameras and you'll likely be bringing something that has information. Right now it looks like it's going to be Shate with the Valkyrie who's going to switch off to the Maestro, so you're still getting an operator who brings something to the table. And Wilkie might also have a bulletproof camera as
おー、ブリッ
well.
ツ。
It's common for
これは
teams to
ピックを
bring
見
possibly a
て、
dock, possibly a mute with a bulletproof camera alongside them on a dorm's
2
defense
階と判断
upstairs.
したのか
We'll see if
な。
that's exactly what Wilkie does. But the information right now for Mouse was weak. It was very weak through a number of those rounds. Penta took full advantage of it. And if you look at Penta's lineup,
食堂、
they're going to have information from Blast playing on that Blitz, who's essentially going to be a very quick mobile drone.
戦
Being
闘
able
を素早く
to
済ま
close the
せたい
gap
という意図での
fast
ブリッ
against
ツ
members of
の
Mouse. And if
攻撃
Mouse
が
are not as aggressive as Penta, the fear for Mouse is that they're going to be caught static again. Too slow,
ってところですね。
you get jumped on. Penta took full advantage of that.
I think the name of the game so far has been hesitancy. Just how hesitant have Mouse been? And it's been a lot, honestly. I'm worried about how long it takes for Mouse to clear out an area of a map and then actually go in physically to take it. There's been a lot of quick comebacks from Penta with rotates that have been afforded, and in that round it was just highlighted, it was underscored brilliantly. They clear up T3, they get rid of enemy, and yet they sit on repel for another 20 seconds, allowing Penta to get in position to coordinate a two-man run out. As soon as you get the power, make sure that you have the information necessary to take that power position, and it was Mouse waiting around in that round that really bit them in the backside. But now it'll be Penta looking to, I guess, keep the tempo high as they're bringing out a Blitz, another operator that has seen a change in the new update on Tuesday. Really only reducing the speed at which you can flash, changing the cooldown from 2 seconds to 7. So I guess this will be our first pro league look at whether or not that'll
かなり
be
工事してますね。
wholly
うん、やっぱりそうですね。
useful or not. You've got
2
Wilkie
回読
downstairs
み
inside
で
the
やっぱり
bathroom right
喫
now,
緊
waiting
の
for
戦
Blast
闘
to
を
turn
素
the
早く済ま
corner.
せたい
He
か
doesn't
ら
really do it just quite yet. He's also got Slevin to contend with the depth kitchen as a Legion. He's going to be worried about those goo mines
ここまで
slowing
前
down
線上げて
his
きてるん
progress.
で、
The pings will come out onto Slevin.
おそらくは
Who
そう
were
で
to
す
the
ね。
crossfire though. He's still got Wilkie in the bathroom, and now you can see the lineup coming out from Penta.
The other thing that Blast has to be wary of is the fact that the entire roof is torn apart. So if he walks in, he's very susceptible. Wilkie will manage to
ここは
outdo
多
him,
分
but he
気
gets
づいて
caught
い
in
た
the
んでしょ
process,
うけど、
trying to get away. Look at this stack up right now inside a dining hall, and it looks like this asphyxiating bolt will be able to finish off Slevin, just adding insult to injury. Might not do a ton of damage, but when you're down, it doesn't need much to finish you off. So with a minute and a half to spare, Penta have taken control of dining hall. They've managed to flush out most of kitchen, but you still see that Mouse has presence on that main floor. And if Penta's drone is as ineffective as we saw from Mouse, which it might be, as Gomfi did not get droned out, he takes the fight against Sir Boss and wins, and Gomfi still stays in the same
こ
position.
のハイドはちょっと
Then
刺
this
さ
could
り
go
そう
from
な気
bad to
が
worse.
します
That's
ね。
a
はい、されま
beautiful
した
shot
ね。
from
お
Gomfi. Can he get
ー
the second? No,
な
he's
るほど。で
completely
も一緒に攻め
blinded,
て
and
きたという
Revan is
感じです
there
ね。
on what is a pretty
でもちょっ
standard
と笑
kill
ってま
for
すね、
Revan,
ナビジ
given
ョ
the。circumstances that Gomfi found himself in. But in the process, Revan still took quite a bit of a beating. You've got both the IQ and the Hibana left. Enemy does hold that diffuser, but you'll have to walk through some pretty good plant denial.
IQ は結構
In
もら
the
ったの
meantime,
は
Got the Alda still in play, you've got Evil Eye still in play, you've got Toxic Canisters from Bouncy, and you've got Wilkie likely holding a C4 if he did not bring that bulletproof camera.
わかりませんが。
Shate pre-firing his way out of a precarious situation as he made it back to top white with ease. Wilkie, though, will finish off enemy, so now it's just Revon, last alive, coming up the white stairs. He's going to walk into a crossfire here, but it'll be Wilkie down below. Like a fireworks round there for Wilkie and Mouse. It'll storm bring one back. For Penta on that round, the kitchen push. Typically, your blitz is supposed to set the tempo. Your blitz did ultimately set the tempo on that round by dying, not making any progressions in through kitchen. Like you said, those kill holes above him being detrimental to his potential progress. You still have the bathroom hallway. You can still go elsewhere. You can come in through meeting.
There's a possibility they didn't know where Gomfi was playing, though, as well. That's something to keep in mind. And if they had taken the fight over towards bathroom, they could have run into somebody from Mouse. This also comes down to droning. If Penta had exhausted most of their drones on that kitchen defense, essentially, which wasn't actually a defense of the kitchen, but was, you know, Sleben playing in there, then you don't have the opportunity to figure out where everybody else is. Blitz is a very frustrating operator for a lot of people to play against, but in a very well-coordinated strategy, you know, setup with strategies there from the defense, you can thwart him somewhat effectively. And with the tools that Mouse had, they had the opportunity to do that. You know, not only was Blast a little bit hesitant to push on him because of the kill holes above him, in which you know there's going to be somebody playing in kids' dorms. You know that somebody is going to be watching you. And the moment that Sleben makes that call that the Blitz is pushing him, you are very vulnerable from above, but add to the fact that you're pushing a Legion, who has likely laid a trail of breadcrumbs of those goo mines in front of you, and if Blast goes to push and isn't successful within the first couple seconds of taking Sleben down, he hits that goo mine, and he can't really retreat because he's going to be slowed, and in order to do so, he's going to be extremely susceptible to the fire from above. I think for Penta, it was just they were trying to put even greater pressure on Sleben, which is why you saw the X-Karos get used on the wall, possibly trying to flush Sleben out so that the Blitz didn't really have to worry about that. But Wilkie jumped out of nowhere and killed Blast before Penta could really get their ducks in a row.
So for Penta here on the attack, we'll be clearing up top floor with Blast. Enemies still opening things up downstairs. Looks like they haven't really identified where Mouse is going to be centralizing their off-site hold, and doesn't actually look like Mouse is utilizing one in comparative to last round, where they were hard set inside of kitchen and the main floor bathroom, but free roam here for Penta. Shots up to the floorboards from Shate. Not going to connect on the blast. Angle in from the top of the armory stairs, but no, again, we have 5 on site set up here on the defense in the basement of Oregon. Not really sure if enemy meant to open that up or not, but at the end of the day, timing can be fickle. The mute jammers will be taken away from Sir Boss as well, and the EMPs. You'll have one set of X-Karos remaining to open up hatches. You still have to worry about Wilkie with his possible Kaid set as well. Could be utilizing Electro Claws on the hatches. Looks like, again, we're having some issue here. Mute jammers and Electro Claws could be utilized to try and trick the hatch, but finally the main hatch will be blown wide open. A Nitro cell being sent up from Shate as well. Not going to connect. You can see Mouse on their 5 on site stance. Not playing too passive, just trying to take their shots when available.
I'm just not a big fan of sticking 5 bodies on site on Oregon basement. It did, you know, but it worked really well for Penta last time. You'll see if they're able to do the same thing on the other side of the coin, since they'll now be on attack. And they'll have to crack through this defense that Mouse has structured. You've already managed to take out both Evil Eyes and the Valkyrie camera while destroying all of that barbed wire on the stairs. So Penta have a much easier path in. It's surprising that there wasn't very much to stop Blast from getting both those Evil Eyes. It's going to be very difficult for Mouse because it's very likely that they will fly blind. You see an asphyxiating bolt go on in, the smokes will go down, and Penta will likely start with the plant, but it's in Sir Boss's hands. He's not really in a position. There goes another C4, the second that will come out, and almost all the plant denial is gone at this point. Really looked like he might have been able to get Wilkie there, and he indeed will. Wilkie getting a little bit too aggressive for Mouse's tastes, and Penta will find an early advantage. By being early, I mean in terms of this execute. There goes another asphyxiating bolt, no coverage of the zone here from above, final smoke goes down. But where is Sir Boss? Not in quite default spot, but standing in the middle of the open as Hungry just sprays in wildly, trying to tap away at somebody. This is going to be no chance for Mouse to be able to recover, as one body will vault on through, Blast finds him, and Penta has the successful defuse play. Sleben will do his darndest, but it might be a little bit too late here. Every single diffuser that has gone down has been successful for the attackers. It's 3 if you count Mouse's 2 rounds, and now Penta on their third. And we just watching the holes from above, and it's going to be almost a full sweep for Penta. But oh, don't count out Gomfi, 2 kills. Playing dangerously underneath that hatch. See a flash go in, but will miss. Gomfi is still completely able to see. Plays up to the stairs, but he knows he's going to have his back exposed. 2 different angles that Penta will hold basically means that Gomfi is unable to win any sort of trade. He's going to peek up too much, but he gets shut down from enemy. It's a bit of an odd time there for Mouse, where Gomfi did his best, but ultimately there was just too many bodies to deal with. And that's what happens when you stick 5 bodies on site. You cannot go for a successful retake. Every single time that Mouse tried to pressure somebody from Penta, there was another person watching on Penta's side, and Mouse languished and ultimately got shut down. That's 5 rounds for Penta to 3 for Mouse, and getting close to Mouse failing to win yet another game. And for Penta, a bit of a bittersweet victory, given the fact that their chances of going to Milan were shut down earlier today.
キッチンダイニングホール。
Talking about desperation plays a lot there, and I'm sure there were question marks slew in the chat when Wilkie decided to full tilt sprint to the bottom of the main stairs to Kaid. That's a play based off of just absolute desperation and no intel. And you noted, they got all the Valkyrie cameras and the Evil Eyes basically for free, able to burn out the ADSs very early on in the round, and then all your intel at that point was gone on the side of Mouse. So I imagine the call coming out for Mouse on that one from Loki was, I'm going to try and make a play. And it's actually miraculous that he made it all the way to the bottom of the main stairs and wasn't cut down from any of the members that were playing upstairs by the hatch. But ultimately the call came out, and he wasn't able to do a whole lot. And that was kind of the round in a nutshell for Mouse. Just not enough intel anywhere. They didn't know where Plant was coming from. The Smoke's obviously doing a really good job of disorienting any of the members that were still downstairs by the laundry rotate. And like you said as well, the 5 on-site setup coming out from Mouse. You allowed so much map control for so free, so early. At that point, they're going to be able to bait out all of your possible plant denial utility. And at the end of the day, it wasn't even all that much utility to stop plant.
Whether it was an EMP that cleared out the ADSs, because it didn't look like it was any flashes, because we saw just the immense amount of flashes that were dumped on in the post plant from Penta. Those Evil Eyes fell very early on. A C4 expended extremely early as that main hatch opened up. And then the second C4 goes out, which is a good read, but it was a little too early. There was just no plant denial that was ultimately there for Mouse. I understand that you want to keep bodies on site, but you're a little bit too liberal with the amount of post-plant, or amount of plant denial that you used in both the pre and post-plant.
So
we go to a kitchen and dining defense. I said this doesn't really happen all that often. It doesn't, but hey, nonetheless, we find ourselves with Mouse, and I guess, again, mirroring the theme of last round, which was desperation. They're desperate. They're looking for a round here to at least get themselves that 1 point we talked about. As soon as they get 1 point, they don't have to worry about auto-relegation for the rest of the season, and they're in the driver's seat as far as their fate is concerned. For the drones coming out for Penta here, you're trying to establish where the off-site members are for Mouse yet again, as they keep switching up the playbook, whether going from on-site to off-site. We finally have an ADS that's in position to block out this Evil Eye from being destroyed so swiftly. Flashbangs will still rain in now, and hear the stun canisters come out as well, as that Evil Eye is not long for this world. Hopefully Shate having a second one placed close by. Still have purview in towards your default plant spot on Kitchen, but outside of that, again, not a lot of plant denial going on here. These Valkyrie cameras continuously being sent out and spotted now. Bonesy not having a lot of luck with his intel, and you can hear that be dispatched out with ease. You've got 1, 2 nitro cells maybe, although Wilkie actually looked like he was bringing a bulletproof camera earlier. So there you might only have 1 nitro cell and 1 Evil Eye left to stall out plant.
The fact that there's an Evil Eye that will remain up because of that mistake from Penta's side, unable to clear that ADS in time, that could be huge. That really could be a major difference maker here, especially with the way the default plants go down. So there you go. Enemy will manage to survive a nitro cell. Good coverage from Sir Boss. Find it down onto Bonesy. EMP will go on in. Slevin cuts down Blast, but it's another successful plant. Keep in mind, 100% success ratio if you get the diffuser down. It'll be match point for Penta if that number continues. Sir Boss down, as it looks like Revan will take out Wilkie too, but Shate wins that fight. They're going to go back and forth. Back and forth. 2v3. Bonesy falls now, and it's essentially a 2v2 with Sir Boss still immobile. Just watching the hole inside a small tower with Revan there to guard him. Whether Hungry's going to be recalled or not, he's going to come closer and try to watch the bathroom window. He's over by lockers and showers. Revan's still just holding tight. It's a run out, but you get caught down. It's going to be a 1v1. Shate versus Revan. Shate trying to bait it out, but there's not a lot of time here. This should be very easy for Revan, and he'll finish things off. Penta securing themselves 1 point against Mouse, who will still need 1 point in order to guarantee that they will not be auto-relegated, but also can kind of rest on either Secret or Na'Vi losing their matchup to try and avoid that, then get by with a little help from their friends. Penta, once again, proving that this coordination on this team and the fact that they are playing a little bit unpredictable on defense, some of that carrying forward onto attack, is for the time being largely flummoxed Mouse and not really allowed Mouse to know exactly how to tackle what Penta is throwing at.
Plant denial in that round really just non-existent outside of Mouse as well. Worried about the setup overall, and that's kind of why Kitchen and Dining doesn't get played all that often, is because you have to invest that kind of utility and manpower and reconstruction from your operators just to get the site to a defendable point so you can sit in favorable positions without being immediately shot from somewhere like Small Tower outside of Shower's windows. At that point, there was no smoke on the defense. There was one pincher cell left, and it did half the damage onto enemy while he was trying to go for a plant inside of the couch. There wasn't enough there to stop the plant and even stall it out. And Penta identifying that and taking that weakness all the way home for a round win, and now they've secured themselves another point in the standings, like you said. They lost their availability to go to Milan, not just today, but a while back too. It's kind of just who wants a better standing position between 3 and 6 for the rest of the season. For this defense, though, to try and round things out for Mouse, as they're trying to stave off the elimination and the loss early on in this game, they could still push this deeper into a game. Maybe all the way to a 6-6 or a 7-5. You got Sleben going for a spawn peek, and he can't land a shot for Rev on. Now his location is going to be identified here. The patience here from Blast and not pop the window immediately is the pre-aim from Sleben waiting on it. Sleben will be able to escape back to Kitchen and Dining. Now you know you've got at least one member on the main floor.
Could have possibly set a major tone for the round there if Sleben hadn't been able to connect. It was a bit of patience on his part, and bad patience, so to speak. You pull that trigger a second faster, and you take out the IQ. When you look at the way that the dorm setup goes, that IQ is not necessarily going to be needed fully for this her utility, especially the way that Revan has been playing. So, a spawn peek is, you know, it's a thing. It's always good. But with the way that Penta, it will likely play this. They have the tools to push in through the generator wall, through Master Closet if they want to, but I mean, for the time being, I would imagine that it's probably going to be a clear from below and then a push into kids' dorms. I'm not sure what that was. Revan is okay. Still trying to figure out if there's anybody playing down below. Now, these goo mines will likely give a good indication to Revan whether there's a drone or not, that there's going to be somebody playing downstairs. And indeed there is. There's 2 bodies. We can see from the silhouettes, one of which will be Sleben, and he's going to be the very first kill. He gets into a bit of a tussle with Blast, but Blast walks away. Still head held high, 70 HP lower, but with an important kill. Goffy takes out Blast. There wasn't that much left of him. And Goffy will still just remain downstairs. Oh, nobody turns his back to Revan, and that's a very easy kill to give Penta another advantage here. Mouse deciding to go for broke as they are just playing very loose. Taking some damage from that asphyxiating bolt. He'll drop through the hatch, and it looks like kids' dorms might actually be completely clear. You can swing on in as Penta. Have to be wary of any holes that are in the ground. And Shate playing a rotate hole next to the reinforcement. But this is an easy situation to possibly wallbang Shate through the mattress. It's going to take some damage as that asphyxiating bolt continues to grow, but he'll get away. Scot-free. Not quite. Very low on HP. This is bad for Mouse, and it looks like, as all things are going according to plan for Penta, that this will be an end to this particular matchup.
Last thing to worry about here is Bonesy downstairs. You have 2 of your SAS operators downstairs, and they'll be the last 2 remaining. Both those Evil Eyes are opened up now by the EMPs, and they'll both get shot with ease from Penta. You got Hungry carrying the diffuser, a retreat coming up top white stairs in just a moment's time. Wilkie prepped a Nitro cell, and he'll land a nice shot onto enemy inside a generator. The plant going down from Hungry. In the midst of smoke, Sir Boss in the windows as he lays cover on Overwatch on his rappel. You've got one flanking from the master hallway. That was Bonesy. They've gone all the way around from top white through generator. You've got Wilkie on the mute as well, waiting to retake back into the objective. Hungary trying to lock down the main hallway and white stairs simultaneously. Things will come out of the defenders. Looks like that is the nitro cell from Wilkie sent out. No claim to life with Sir Boss. Down to a 2v2, but time not the friend of Mouse Sports and the remaining two SAS operators. SMG-11s will be in hand as they try to press up. Walking out from one bomb chassis and transferring to another target. Hungary will lock out that one for Penta, and that is a 7-3 victory for Penta Sports. Mouse will drop yet another game in the second half.
Liked a lot of what I saw there from Penta. Quite a bit.
Quite a bit.
Quite a bit of what I saw. And you know, the whole issue with dorms is that it's very difficult to retake it. We say this every single time Oregon comes up, but I think it's always worth mentioning that retaking kids' dorms when you have full site control is very difficult. If you're an attacker watching that diffuser and there's more than one of you left, there's really high odds that you'll be able to hold on. If you're a defender in a 2v4 with the diffuser not down, trying to stave off a push from the attackers in the dying seconds, you have a lot of advantages. It's just because of the claustrophobic side of the actual site itself. The fact that a number of the walls cannot be shot through, so you don't really have to worry about bullet pens, and you have to rappel in or jump in through most of the ways into the actual site. Think about the double windows in kids' dorms or the big window that leads to the main dorm area. You're very vulnerable and exposed when you do that. So, with that said, Penta, they're not going to be able to make it to Milan. They still pick up 3 big points to keep the top race in Europe close and maybe possibly even finish in 3rd overall, really depending on what happens with Chaos and G2 in that matchup later today. There won't be any interviews today due to some technical issues, so if you wanted to hear from the stream and now possibly Penta, we apologize. But because of that, we have a break ready for you a little bit quicker than usual. So we'll throw to a break and then we'll come back with our 3rd match of the day in just a few minutes.
まあしゃがみにも対応できるような、ラインで明らかに構えてたと思うんで、何なんですかね。そういうのがかなり目立つようになりましたね。いいショットだと思います。これも最近の傾向としてはやっぱりガジェットで動かして敵を動かしてルートロックしているところに、敵をおびき寄せるっていうような形の、攻めだったり防衛だったりっていうのが多いんですけど、それがうまくはまっているシーンがかなり多かったように思いますね。ペンタスポーツのガジェットの使い方っていうのがかなりうまかったように思いますね。D2 なのかな、見たいですけどね。ちょっとこれは見れないですね。もう4時なんでちょっと6時になっちゃうんで、6時7時になっちゃうんで、はい、というわけでね、また次の動画でお会いしましょう。